I think the web threatens the nation state with irrelevance. It threatens to give people a resource to communicate with each other, to inform each other, to entertain each other. That can bypass nation states, cross national boundaries, and leave, this is the perceived fear, leave national politicians floundering, always trying to keep up. It's that kind of threat. It's not a rival to state power, but it does threaten to bypass state power.
People can share their own thoughts and feelings, experiences, talents, which I think is a great thing. What we're trying to do is just provide the opportunities. Ultimately, always just trying to give them access to the platform to cost-effectively distribute their content and get in front of a global audience that wasn't, I guess, aggregated before. I think in the past, again, the traditional models would survive around scarcity. Which I don't think necessarily is healthy for society, for ultimately a few people to have the control of the creation of all the content within the world and then have the control of all the distribution of the content in the world. Now with the internet, people have access to create and distribute on their own.
Because people don't want just to consume news. They want to engage with news. They want to sort of talk back and give their own opinion around what they're reading. We are putting an enormous amount of effort and resources into citizen journalism.
You have, people just capturing moments, be it, a local event happening within their town, or, protests, or what's happened in Iran. People capturing these moments and having now a chance to share them with the world, and people using it as a resource to be informed.
What happens when an authoritarian regime comes to power? They close down all the newspapers, they take over all the TV and the radio stations. Look what happened in Iran. You had this groundswell of popular support expressed on Twitter, for example, and through blogs. It was just crushed. And the regime began using Twitter against his opponents very effectively, spreading horrendous lies.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Mr. President. All the best wishes.
I would argue that were it not for the internet, Barack Obama would not be president. It wasn't just because of the new media, it was about the way that he used the internet to fundraise, to organize, to really break through just the traditional ways of doing politics. So in that sense, he wanted to demonstrate that he was also going to govern differently. And you can't really galvanize people without a clear message. It's not just a function of technology, it's the combination of message and technology.
And what I think it does, when you see the personal side of people just capturing everyday life, is that it breaks down cultural barriers. In the past, I think people have just kind of consumed their knowledge, or I guess their perception of the world just through media, which again isn't always unbiased. But when you start seeing everyday life from everyday people on the streets, no matter what country they live in, I think it adds a very personal element to that people can connect with.
One way of measuring the question about the power of the nation state and the ability of the nation state to project force involves just looking at a map of the world. Will there be more countries, fewer countries, or just the same number? And what I'm willing to predict is that if it's more, you'll have a world with greater individual freedom.
And you believe that this will be technologically
And technology will decide the question of the number of countries that exist in the world in 2050, more than anything else.